Join Sean and Brad as they talk about sports and share a beer. From the east coast of Canada to the west coast of the United States. Over to you, boys.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Sean, buddy, how are you today?
I'm doing good, man. You?
Good to see your face, man. I'm doing well. It's, crazy times as always, but here we are. Guys Beer Sports, episode, I don't know, at this point, like, it's just fun. So,
episode fun. I'll go with it.
Yeah, episode fun. Hey, today I'm drinking this Rogue Bat Squatch. It's a hazy Indian Pale Ale from Rogue Breweries. So we hope our friends at Rogue are all good. You know, those fires are down there, all those things. But what I picked it for is this little guy here reminds me of you. So this big, hairy, and fun.
I'm a big, hairy, and fun guy. Is that it?
Yeah. Big, hairy, fun mushroom, right? That's the move. Fun guy.
I don't know if it's going to show up so well with the lights here. Here we go. This is from Nine Locks Brewery. Frig Off. It's a double IPA. So let me tell you something. I hate IPAs, okay? Usually I hate them. But this one has to be, it's hoppy, but I'm drinking this thing down like it's absolute candy.
Yeah.
I'm actually really enjoying it.
I typically don't go IPA, but then I end up with IPAs quite a bit just because it's Pacific Northwest and that seems to be our dominant deal from all the smaller breweries. And so I will tell you this, I'm going to drink a couple of these Bat Squatches this morning watching football, and then I'll switch to Miller Lite at some point just because, you know, it's football season. So cheers.
Cheers. I'm down with that. So let's talk about the Battle of Ohio. Let's talk about somebody that called something and was right. I didn't get the score right, though. But
no, you're not going to score.
I did not get the score right.
You did get the outcome right, and I will say that a broken clock is still right 2 times a day. So congratulations. And no, you did good. You stayed with your team and it held up, and here we are. So
I'm telling you, it was the power of that shirt, the Cleveland Steamer, buddy. Just steamed right along.
That's what they did to Joe Burrow's first experience with the Battle of Ohio. The Browns gave him the old steamer.
They sure did.
Man.
35-30. I mean, I couldn't believe it. What was that? Kareem Hunt getting some touches there.
Yeah.
Nick Chubb looked great.
Yeah.
Odell Beckham with a touchdown pass.
Well, Odell Beckham made us all eat our words, right? We talked about how he wasn't going to show up, and then he showed up. So
he showed up. Yeah,
there's that, right? Yeah, and maybe most importantly for the state of Ohio is that it was a fun, competitive game.
It really was. I mean, I understand. I heard the pundits going on about, it's Cincinnati. It's like, wait a second. So Cincinnati almost beat the Chargers, and I understand that was Tyrod Taylor that was out there on the Chargers, right? The thing is that you almost beat the Chargers. You missed because of a shank field goal. Joe Burrow's had 3 touchdown passes in this game. He's going to have a great career, obviously. It looks like it's inevitable. He's doing very well. I think Baker Mayfield just woke up and smelled the coffee. I don't care. You're still in the NFL. You're still in a very competitive division. Whatever the defense is on that team, still to run up 35 points, that's nothing to be scoffing at. So
yeah, it was a fun game to watch. So I mean, that's what it is. And you want, I think, you root for number 1 drafted players. I do anyway, right? Because I want them to do well, and because the talent's there, right?
Yeah.
And so like when the number 1 picks are doing well, the league's doing well, and that's what's. I mean, obviously, football is just a love of mine. So
were you loving Ryan Leaf?
Now or then?
No, then, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Like in college, 100%. And I was definitely pulling for him, and people forget a lot. Like we think Ryan Leaf, knowing what we know, right? But there was debate about Peyton Manning, Ryan Leaf going 1-2, like who was going to be what. Like that
it was legit. Real
conversation. And clearly the Colts made the right decision. But I think you just root for those guys to be, that way. But
yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially when you have a college season the way he did. So I was glad to see him get 3 touchdowns. Yeah, Cincinnati is a developing team. I mean, offensively, I think you got the pieces. Defensively, maybe a couple more pieces added.
Yeah, interesting to me that AJ Green didn't show up in a couple of spots.
Yeah, that is interesting. Yeah,
from being, not playing for however many of the last games, right? I think it's like 16 of the last 20 games he hasn't played, and having no preseason and all that stuff. But it felt like there was a couple of spots where, notably like that at the end, that last little push they had, the ball was a little bit behind him, but still enough, inside of his shoulders and hit him in the hands. Like, you expect AJ Green to make that catch.
Yeah.
Right. Your top 10 receivers, you expect to make that catch, and he didn't do it. And I thought that was interesting to see. But
I guess sometimes the sun doesn't shine every day, right? On that person, on that receiver. Sometimes it has to rain a little. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's true. But it's true. You pay that money for that catch, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, that's why we're slagging OBJ. It's just like
I was thinking about that this morning, right? About how we have these expectations of pass catchers specifically, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now they're going to catch everything that's thrown at them because that's what we see. That's what's curated for us to see, right? And as technology has gone for us. But what we don't see is practice. Like, how many times do they drop a ball in practice? Probably not often, but I bet they do. You know what I mean? Like, no one's 100%. No one's even, probably 95% in practice.
No.
Because you're working on your craft. And so I think it's, a bit short-sighted for us as fans to be like, oh, they catch everything. Well, they don't. That's what we see, right? We only see the highlights. And so it's like comparing yourself to, someone else you see on social media where they're carefully crafting their life so that you're jealous of, but really, like, their bed's not made either. So.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's easy to criticize as a fan. I mean, that is why we are fans, right? I mean, so that we pay for advertising because we're buying products. That's whatever is being advertised on the NFL or NHL or NBA. We pay for tickets. We pay for merchandise. So to me, it's like, okay, you pay and you're paying their salary that way. Yeah. I guess you could become that guy to sit there and say, well, I could do better. Well, no, you probably can't. You probably can't get off your couch, go out there and run a passing tree and catch a ball.
I got $50 if you can.
It's sad that we do that, but I mean, we do pay for that to be able to criticize. That is part of the escape. That's part of the escape in sports.
Yeah, it's the fun part of it, right? Like it's, that's why we do. Like you said, it's kind of an escape. It's a release. It's a way to analyze something that doesn't have any real impact on anybody's lives. I mean, except for the players, right? Because those guys are counting on that money to feed their families, and so there's some of that, right? But that's the fun of it. It's the fun part is making sure we're being smart about, right? It's emotional intelligence as fans to be able to criticize and not like lose your mind, right? Anyway,
unless of course you have
emotional intelligence.
Oh, here we go. Okay.
Unless you have another part, I wanted to switch to last night's UFC fight because I feel like that main event was really a display of emotional intelligence, and I feel like that maybe that's the last time we see Mr. Woodley.
I have to agree. That was just absolutely sad. And the thing is that I'm a Tyron Woodley fan, and I don't know. I mean, so far through these free fights, we've seen a lot of the headliners coming out.
Yeah.
38, 39, 40. You know what I mean? Like they're a little long on the tooth.
Yeah.
So Tyron Woodley being 38, he looked gassed. 4th round, looked gassed, got an eye poke. Takes like 5 minutes, it felt like. He took some time to recover, and it wasn't as bad as an eye poke. And it was funny because you were mentioning, and I'll let you actually get to that. I'll let you get to that there because that eye poke was ridiculous, taking 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then here he is in the 5th round. He gets taken down, which, I mean, Colby Covington, say what you will about him. He's a bit of a jerk. He's arrogant. I don't know how much of it is for show, but
well, I think a lot of it is for show.
Absolutely. But you
But
know
I think
that
it's the only. I think that it's the only way he can stick, because I think that he's not good enough in the cage.
I don't know, man, because
He's
he
not.
came
Well, I
in
shouldn't say good
prepared.
enough. I shouldn't say good. He's not compelling enough as a fighter to be a high level draw that he wants to be, and so he
At
had
this
to create
moment,
this persona.
At this moment, I
Yeah.
understand what you're saying. At this moment, maybe. But you know what? Last night's fight, I mean, he picked up Tyron Woodley. Who's picked up Tyron Woodley like that?
Yeah.
With just underneath him,
Well,
literally
and for
lifting
me,
him up.
it was classic, like, I hate this guy, so I'm going to beat his ass. Like, I think that was the conversation that we had. Me and my wife had watching the fight. She goes, no one, like, dislikes someone enough to, like, intentionally hurt them. I go, oh, no, he does. He hates Tyron so bad that, like, he's happy that he snapped
didn't
his
even
wrist.
hurt Tyron. That's the worst part.
He said he, you know what I mean? Like, he was trying to do that, like, not do that, but he was trying to inflict pain on him.
Of course, because you know Colby
outside of competition, I feel like.
Say what you will about this guy. He came in prepared. He had a fight plan to go in there. He respected Tyron Woodley enough to come in prepared.
Yeah, you could tell he was changing strategy by round.
Yes.
They had a different attack by round, which you rarely see anymore, right? A lot of times they'll be like, all right, here's the thing, here's the strengths, here's the weaknesses. We're going to attack him this way. Covington came in and was like, I'm going to attack you this way in round 1. If we go to round 2, it's this way. If we go to round 3, it's this way. Like, he just had a game plan that was so deep and diverse. You could just tell, like, I feel like he was, like, sitting up at night just watching film in his room by himself in the dark, just, like, taking notes.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing when it comes to hate and love is that it still breeds some sort of respect. It doesn't matter. Because if you hate something so bad, you still have to respect that, because you do not want to come in there looking like you're unprepared or ill-prepared. And if you do not respect that, then you are going to be made a fool of. And so he did do that. But the thing is, like, where I got upset, and maybe it's his age, I don't know, maybe his heart just gave up, like, but all of a sudden you have him in this guillotine, you're trying to do a choke, like, oh, my rib. Yep. I don't know, maybe he twisted himself, for sure. Like, you know, I'm not trying to say.
He was in pain. On the replay, he was loaded in a bad spot, right? Yeah. And I think that Covington had kicked him hard enough in his ribs that he had already done some damage.
Well, there was a few times, absolutely.
But man, to go like that, like, man, I don't know.
That's the saddest part.
When he yelled initially, I thought he said my wrist.
You
know what I mean?
Yeah, and then you heard it the second time, though.
He definitely said my ribs. He definitely did. But, like, my initial reaction was like, oh, he broke his wrist. Whatever was going on down there below where he had his hand trapped.
Yeah.
You know, because that's what Kobe was doing, was pulling on that rib, right? Or pulling on that hand. And I thought, oh, maybe he snapped his wrist because they were torqued in a weird spot. But
yeah. Well, the worst part afterwards, then you have to listen to Colby Covington come out and give his presser afterwards, right?
I didn't. As soon as
you turned it off,
I turned it off.
I don't blame you, because it wasn't like you weren't missing anything. I mean, he turned it all political.
Listen, and I'll take your grandstanding all day long and all those things. And if you want to stand and, you know, you want to, whatever you want to do, right? It's America. You can do and say what you want. But for me, like, as soon as you start getting, like, it's not a show anymore, it's like a speech, and you want to take away from the sport, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it. I don't have room for it.
There's like, to me, it's like, okay, I understand, whatever, you're a Republican. I understand that. I understand that you support Donald Trump. You're allowed to support whoever you want.
Yeah. And you've been to the White House and all those things. Whatever. Yeah, like,
that's great. Fantastic.
The difference
Let's talk about the fight.
With the NFL, with all the silent protests and the displays of unity and all things we've seen in pro sports recently, and even going back a couple of years, right?
Yeah.
None of those guys have ever been endorsing, like, on court, an actual person,
political party or anything like that.
No, it's always been, hey, vote, or hey, this matters. It's never been like, support insert political candidate or political party. And for me, that's where my line is, right? Like, if you want to talk about freedoms, the vote, and races and all those things, yes, let's do that. That's a better society to do that. But as soon as you want to interject your opinion into that whole deal, I'm out. And maybe
I know.
Like,
I honestly think that that's part of his now new persona in order to sell himself, because he was calling Kamaru Usman, what was it, fake fake newsman. I'm like,
Yeah.
come on, man. Come on,
Well, it is,
man.
right? That's why he wears that red hat that gets everyone so fired up. It wouldn't surprise me if we find out that there's some
I'm fine with that, though. Okay, you're going to come out with I
Yes.
understand. You're coming out with the red hat? Fine. You know, I'm fine with all that.
Yeah, I don't disagree with any of those things. What I disagree with is taking the presser away and like pulling away from the performance to talk about something else. I just feel like it's garbage.
Like to talk about November 3rd, it's like, come on, man. Yeah. Come on, man. But the last part I wanted to say there too, right? Because you missed this presser that he had, because he ended up calling out LeBron James. He goes, all those woke athletes, I'm sick and tired of you, especially LeBron James. I'm like, come on, man. Like, again, it's like, let's just talk about the fight, brother. Let's just talk about the fight. All right, what did you think of that majority draw? And Nico Price going crazy.
I thought it was interesting because I was watching the fight with my wife, and she doesn't watch a lot of those things, and so she was interested in like the displays of affection between those two between rounds. Like they were hugging and then slapping hands and all that. And she's like, "Are they friends?" I was like, "They've got to know each other or something." Like that's a weird. Like the hug before the round is weird. I don't know that I've seen that.
I think I had to do a lot with the eye pokes and the
double
eye
poke. Tell that he didn't like that. He wasn't that. Well, those things weren't intentional, right? Like he was defending himself, and Cowboys leaning in. His hands were like, yeah. But it was just the displays of like respect. Were like, I'm good with the hand slap. I wasn't quite sure how the bro hug was supposed to work before the round. But then, and like, admittedly, Cowboy is like. He's probably my favorite fighter as a person.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like talent-wise, he's probably but I always root for Cowboy. I love Cowboy. I follow Cowboy and all of his social media stuff. I just think that he's great. Like, I just love his persona. Like, I think he is who he is and all those things. And it was really fun to me for him to be like, yeah, this is cool. This is respectful. And then at the end, like the guy bro hugs him again and he's like squeeze him on the neck and like Cowboy just has his hands down. Like he's not even hugging him back. And he was just
of course not, because it's like you're there going because he's there going, I did enough to win this fight. What are you talking about? Majority draw.
Even before that, at the bell, right? Before they even announced the winners. Like go back and watch it. He's like hugging him and throwing his hands down and throwing just kind of like standoffish. And then they announced like it's a majority draw and Cowboy's face is like priceless, and then that dude is celebrating. And
he is going crazy.
He wants to hug him again, and he was like, "No." Like he just walked off. He was like, "I'm not celebrating a draw."
Majority draw. Like I heard Cerrone's name for the Judge 1.
Yeah.
And then the other two was a majority draw, and I'm like, okay, but didn't he get one that gave him the win? So wouldn't he get the win?
I don't know how you get a 28-28 call.
I don't know either. I don't know. That's ridiculous. I don't know. But that's why you don't leave it to the judges, right? That's why you don't do that, because you get something ridiculous like that.
Yeah, and and Cowboy's the guy that is the same, right, as they're older, like you wonder about the gas tank, you wonder about those things.
Well, he was 30,
not the gas
37.
tank necessarily,
yeah.
But just like the push, right?
Yeah.
And so the thing is hold on. Hey, what's up? Yeah.
So Brad has 5 kids, and I love it. I love it whenever his kids come on in there and talk to him. That's awesome.
That was the baby, and my fault probably. Her win is that I'm pretty soft, and so she'll ask me for things that she knows her mom will say no to. So that's what that was.
Oh, she's
smart. She knows. She's already like the kid. My kids understand negotiating quite well, and that's the path of least resistance. Which ends up being this guy. So, but I thought that Cerrone, we've seen the past couple fights kind of cave early, like cave to the pressure, and you saw that was going to be the move. That first 45 seconds was insane. I can't believe that he made it.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way that guy had to have gassed him a little bit, right? And it's
like my wife and I were making comments about that. These younger fighters that are coming up seems to be like this whole entire blitzkrieg onslaught. Like they come on you so quick in the first.
Yeah.
And for the older guy, you have to just hold on, and slow them down. Like Alistair Overeem,
right? Like they knew that was the move.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's the Sorry, I got irritated. I pulled up the thing because I want to give Nico Price his due because I felt like he was really about it. But then I see dumbass Colby Covington on the phone with President Trump getting congratulated, and I feel like this is garbage. Anyway, John Walker looked good.
Johnny Walker is sitting in the middle.
Yeah.
He just
you probably haven't seen this movie, maybe you have, but that's definitely from the movie Trolls.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Definitely.
I have never seen that movie. I'm glad that you just enriched my mind with that.
Anyway, or maybe it's not, but that's exactly what he looked like. So
all I know is that he just didn't want to pull that rotator cuff.
I thought that the Mackenzie Dern Marcos fight was real good too. I thought it was high level. High
level jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, man. Yeah. She just came out and smoke checked her. That was interesting.
I know. And the other thing too that I couldn't believe was that Chimaev, that's a Russian last name from Sweden. Okay. I was really confused because it's like I'm seeing a Swedish flag and I'm there going, this guy's not listening to ABBA. This guy's not listening to Ace of Base. This guy's not listening to any of this stuff here.
I bet you
My wife is handing me a wife question as well.
We'll have dueling.
Maybe we'll have two. I don't know. We'll have to see.
I've got mine. You've got yours, so we can. Yeah. We'll fit those in. Quickly, let's talk about the NHL playoffs.
Oh.
Because my hockey is not as fluent as yours.
Well.
Yes.
That helps a little.
It's a birthright. I get it's a birthright. But here's my takeaway from the game one of the series and kind of like because Dallas, I felt like, has been a bit of a underdog the entire way. Right? Is that fair?
No, it's absolutely, like, to me, nobody was giving Dallas really a fair handshake at this. Only because it's like every time they come into the postseason and they've had some really good teams. Like, you think about some of the talent they have, Radulov, Jamie Benn, Tyler Seguin. These are all premier players, but the thing is that they never really play to that level that like they come in maybe second round and then a second round exit, right? So because it was goaltending and defense. A lot of
hair gel in that locker room.
No, not like the Leafs. No, not like the Leafs. No, but so here I am. I really didn't know what to think about this Dallas Stars team until really they came up against Vegas. Well, forget about Vegas. They came up against Colorado, and they handled their business with Colorado. I mean, to me, Colorado was the favorite going into this. They're in Vegas, right?
Yep.
So they take care of Colorado, and then in 5 games they take out Vegas Knights, which is a deep roster.
Yeah.
So and then automatically the pundits are like, well, Dallas is lucky to get to the finals. It's always good to get to the finals. But Tampa are New York Islanders, so the East is going to take it.
Yeah.
And game one, and I'm not saying that this is how the Stanley Cup playoffs are going to, we have to win 4 games.
Yeah.
But that first game was 4-1. And Hudobin, who I really did not know a lot about, all of a sudden is being touted because I kept on hearing the pundits saying, no matter what, in each series, your goaltender is going to have to steal a game or 2 for you. Because sometimes the team is not coming out there and scoring. You need hot goaltending. You need it. And
that's what it appears to me, right? Just from my oversight view, you've got this guy who's been a career journeyman, right? Mm-hmm. Like a third goaltender in most places he's been, which for me equates to like the third quarterback on an NFL team. Like that guy's not wearing a cup. He's probably wearing regular shoes. He's not going to even like start warming up until the backup guy gets hurt. Like then he might go tie his shoes. Like that's who that guy has been his entire career, right? And now he's hot. And you feel like, at least to me, it's like he's struck gold. And even if this is like his only run, right? It's an amazing run. But having a white hot goaltender, right? I mean, just so hot you just can't even fathom to touch him, is like the ace card. Because right now we're talking about a playoff series with no travel, no home ice advantage. Mm-hmm. And the biggest trump card of all is having the goaltender playing lights out, and that's what Dallas has. And I think that maybe that's enough to get him through.
Man, so here's the thing. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you. On the other side, Tampa Bay has a great goaltender as well, Andrei Vasilevsky, probably one of the best goaltenders, top 10, top 5 right now in the NHL.
You know what this is?
What's that?
That's how many goals he gave up in game 1.
4 goals. You're absolutely correct. I'm not
That's not a 2-1 game.
I know that was
1-0 game.
That was, I mean, and that's the thing, right? Is that was a decisive win.
Yeah.
Vasilevsky was not hot. Tampa Bay. So Steve Stamkos still not dressed. Probably won't dress for the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yeah.
Braden Point's all gimpled up. Cervelli there is all gimpled up. So
gimpled up, is that being hurt?
Yeah, they're all hobbling and everything, you know. So, I'm not trying to make excuses because I'm sure that Dallas also has injuries as well.
Listen,
it's not like
you wonder about the layoff, right? With Tampa being idle for so long, and before the Eastern Conference Finals, right? Tampa had a bit of a gap there, didn't they? Am I remember that correctly?
No, you're remembering that very correctly, yeah. Because New York and New York Islanders and Philadelphia.
Man, how is it that I know this? Man, you should be so proud of me. I'm making moves.
I am, buddy. I'm glad. You're correcting me there. It's beautiful.
Coming out of this pandemic, hot on hockey.
I've
the silver lining.
I've reached my goal. Taught another American about hockey. It's awesome. Anyway,
but yes, so like having a gap, right? And then, you know, we talked about how maybe there was an advantage for them going into the Eastern Conference Finals because they get some guys healthy and all those things. And I think we saw some of that to be true. Mm-hmm. But now we roll into the finals, and it feels like, you know, maybe it's game 1. It's an overreaction to say that the series is over. Like,
no, you can't. You can't just all of a sudden coronate Dallas as the champions yet.
No. That's why we play 7 games, right? So that's best of 4. Like that's the truest test of all these things. Like as much as I love football, you know, and all those things, like it's, you know, I guess some sports need to have 1 game because I hated like the home and away series in soccer was like.
Oh, well, first off, soccer, for crying out loud, this whole entire aggregate thing. I'm like, come on, man. You play 2 games and it depends on how many goals you get. And then that's the way it is. It could be a 1-1. Yeah. Who cares?
And where? Yeah.
To me, it's like ridiculousness. It's whatever.
So they've done away with that.
Yeah.
So we're happy now.
Well, of course. But in Europe, I'm still certain that it's still by aggregate in order to move on.
Yeah, I'm sure it is too. I don't care about that. Like, whatever.
I hate aggregate. It's like, come on, man.
It's dumb.
It is. Because right now, what? Dallas, you're just going to go by that 4-1 and the rest of them are 2-1s. Oh, Dallas still wins the cup. It's like, what? Come on, man.
So silly because the weight of the goal on the home ice or away ice is more important.
And sorry, I know that there's some Europeans listening, and I'm sorry. Not that I don't respect your game, but I don't respect your game. I don't know.
Listen, I respect your game. That rule is dumb. Let's do away with it.
Okay. I still don't respect their game. I'm sorry.
Fine. We're all tied to our opinions. That's what makes the world so great.
Whatever.
Makes the world so great. All right, moving on. I want to talk just quickly about. I feel like, you know, and we're both really high in this Denver Nuggets team.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have a great feeling about the Lakers matchup going into it, and now seeing how pissed off LeBron is about the MVP voting, which is probably voted correctly, but he's just taking it as a chip on his shoulder. Like they're going to destroy Denver. Like I feel like it's a foregone conclusion.
It's 1 game. I mean, it's the same thing as the Clippers when they came out and they spanked Denver. The thing is,
I think they're gonna. I think they're just gonna do it. I think Rondo's
so?
I think that playing all the elimination games that Denver has played takes a toll and it catches up to you.
Absolutely.
I think it's a good story. I just think like the stars are aligning for the Lakers to kind of cruise through to the finals. I
know who was saying that. That was you. That was you talking about that on Thursday about the last time the Lakers won was in Orlando, and where are they? Orlando. Yeah. So I mean, the ghost of Kobe.
Well, they beat Houston, right? They beat Denver in the Western Conference Finals, and then they won.
But beating Houston, whatever. Beating Houston.
I just mean like that. It's history repeating itself. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. I'm not saying they're going to win the championship. I just think that they make it to the finals. I think they have an easier path to the finals than, say, Miami or Boston does. I think that Miami-Boston series is very interesting.
Well, I want to move on.
I want coming back. Right?
Yeah. I want to move on to Miami, Boston in one moment here. I still want to just talk about this Denver, LA, because to me, it's like, okay, so game one, yeah, they came out. Now, if game two is the same thing, okay, I might have to sit there and go with you, Brad. I think you're right. But if Denver bounces back, there's going to be a long series again. Yeah. Does this work out to Denver's favor? Of course not. I mean, you're playing extra amount of games, and then you want to go into the NBA Finals. But it was impressive to see the Lakers do what the Lakers are doing, right? So the thing is that
everyone's been waiting for them to turn it on, and I think that we're seeing them start to turn it on.
Well, it's also
again one game. It's one game.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But you are playing against arguably right now the best player in all of basketball, with LeBron James. So, yeah, he's getting older, but it is LeBron James, and
we can say he's getting older, right? When we're 18, 17?
Yeah. Well, that's a lot of games, man. From 18 to
but still, if you are going to take if you're setting up a team, right? You have to draft 5 guys.
Yeah.
Right. And you have to go. Let's just say it's 4 teams for a playoff series, or for like a tournament, and each player get 5, whatever, right? Like it's 5-on-5. You only need whatever. LeBron James goes. I think you have to take him at least top 2.
Oh yeah.
Not if you're starting a team. If you're starting a team, you're going a different route, right? Because he's longer than right now. To go play a game right now, you line up all the NBA players, and you have to win today. Who's the first player you're taking?
Who's the first player I'm taking? I mean, I'm sorry, I'm still taking LeBron James if he's healthy. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Second player then would be Kawhi Leonard.
It's a coin flip between LeBron and KD, right?
Oh, well, KD's still injured, but yeah. If you have a healthy KD, I agree with you. That's number 2.
In a healthy world, right?
Yeah.
It's like you got all the guys there.
Yeah. If you have a healthy Kevin Durant, absolutely you're putting him on there. Yeah.
Maybe. I feel like it's a coin flip.
Between who? Him and Kawhi?
No, him and LeBron. I feel like if KD's healthy and you have to win right now. Like say you're like, all right, we're standing on we're at the gym. And the top 20 basketball players in the NBA are all standing on the court, right? And you've got it. You're going to draft it's me and you picking teams. I'm picking LeBron, probably.
Yeah.
I'm tempted by KD, but I'm biased because I just love Kevin Durant too much. But.
I know. I'm just wondering what's going to happen with Kevin Durant coming back from this injury, because usually when you come back from an injury like that, one leg is going to have to start working harder than the other.
Wow.
There's a good chance that you could start injuring the other one then at that point. So
I don't disagree with you there. My counterpoint is that it's likely he could have played in Orlando because they would have cleared him.
Right.
I watch him a lot, and I see the film that he puts out. He's doing it. I saw him come back in the finals and was killing it.
Right.
Until this Achilles thing, right? And so I don't worry about KD because KD puts that work in.
Oh, yeah.
By the time the season kicks off next year, I don't know that we'll tell. In fact, I would be a little bit nervous if I was the rest of the league that he had a year to figure it out.
It's interesting. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Brooklyn.
But again, completely biased. I'm completely biased.
Yeah. I mean, I feel the same way about Kawhi Leonard, but although, man, like we were talking about the Clippers there on Thursday, I mean, there's a lot of problems on that team. A lot of problems, and I don't think they're going to be able to fix it.
You know what's interesting about the Clippers?
Huh.
And it's a thing that's always kind of been there. There's something about the Clippers that they have chemistry problems. That's what's always held them back. And I don't know if it's a Doc Rivers thing, because I don't feel like they had those chemistry problems in Boston. But definitely there, they've had some issues.
Yeah.
Because you can argue that DeAndre Jordan, Chris Paul team, that era, that team was good. They should have won a championship.
Are you talking about with yeah. I hear that. And
they couldn't get it.
No, it's just something about that team. you're absolutely correct. I remember they had Blake Griffin, they had Chris Paul. It was a good team, and they just weren't able to put it together. And I remember that Doc Rivers, when he started coaching them, it just never came into fruition for them. But I mean, whatever. It's done. I don't even know why we're talking about the Clippers again. Still, they're gone. It's the same thing. I'm not talking about the Raptors right now either. Whatever. They're one and done right now. So, yeah, whatever. Breaks my heart.
Whatever, indeed.
Okay, so Celtics Heat. All right, so Jimmy Butler. What, did he get injured yesterday? What happened there? It's like something happened, and that something equated to a Miami Heat loss.
Yeah.
I mean, Boston's a real team.
They've got enough games or time off between now and then. They don't play until Wednesday, which is weird, right? It feels like a long gap.
That is a long gap. What are they going to play? Ping pong? Ping pong the whole entire time there?
Ride some rides.
Yeah. I don't know.
Play some golf.
Maybe some video game playing. I don't know. Yeah.
Be like Daniel House and try to sneak in one of the COVID testing girls' room or something.
All I know is I'd be going nuts waiting for game time. You know what I mean? Like, I'd be going nuts.
Yeah, I mean, we heard that from Jaylen Brown yesterday too. We'll see how they carry it out. I thought that even though that Gordon Hayward didn't have like a direct impact on court, I mean, he had a good game, but not like a series changing game. But just his presence, right, really allowed those other guys, I feel like, to open up and hit their marks. So that was maybe that's the turning point for the Celtics to get through. I don't know. I still am drinking the Miami Kool-Aid. I love Duncan Robinson more and more I watch him. Tyler's been fun for me to watch since Kentucky. And then I love Jimmy Buckets, the alleged son of Michael Jordan. And so you put those guys together, you just love it, man. And like, I've always loved Udonis Haslem, right? Going back to when he played at Miami, like watched him in the tournament. You know what I mean? So like, I'm always going to pull for those guys.
Ever since I made that promo and I show it to people, because I have that split picture and everything, and then dudes are just looking at it going, oh. And I'm like, are you buying into this stuff? I bet you buy into the flat earth stuff too. I bet you buy into that stuff.
Like Kyrie.
Kyrie, that's right. I got involved in these rabbit holes, man. I just don't understand. Went deeper and deeper.
I just know that the move for Jimmy Butler is that the story was always that his mom had been associated with somebody in Chicago. And the stuff just all lines up. Maybe it's not true. It probably isn't true, but gives me something to think about and worry about. And so I like it. Hold on just one second.
Yeah.
The baby's here again.
I love it.
Coco, what's up, girl? You're cold? Get a blanket. Or we can go in the hot tub later, okay? But I gotta finish.
Hot tub time.
Okay. That's the level of spoiledness that we have in my house.
Wow.
Hey, I'll be out in a little bit, all right? Love you.
And hot tub time. Hot tub.
I mean, you know what I did for the first time the other morning that I haven't done in the years that I've had a hot tub, and I feel dumb about this. I'm usually in my hot tub, 4 mornings a week. I'll work out, I get home, everyone's still asleep, so I'll just sneak out and jump in the hot tub for 15, 20 minutes. And on Thursday, I think, Thursday or Friday, one of the days all run together. I got a cup of coffee, my first cup of coffee. And then I got in the hot tub with my cup of coffee, and I had the love of the first cup of coffee. You know how beautiful that moment is.
Oh yeah. Oh no, I know.
I had that in a hot tub. It was like devil relaxation, and like I can't believe.
Did you fall asleep?
No, but I got out feeling so just joyous and like ready to take on the day. That lasted about 27 minutes, but
nice.
Yeah, it's a good way to start the day.
That is a good way to start the day.
Oh.
I start the day with a nice warm cup of coffee, and then I go and just try to make it through, like a nice hot shower. I don't have a hot tub, not yet. Eventually,
get one.
It gets cold here too in Halifax.
That's why you should have one. You should have
maybe, yeah. We have a right now. It's still a Cat 3, Hurricane Teddy. It might be down to a tropical storm by the time it hits us on Tuesday. That's what I'm hoping for, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all embracing that. That's like getting our storm chips. So I don't even know if you know about storm chips. Have you ever heard about storm chips?
No, explain it to me.
No? Okay. So last year we had a major hurricane come through here. It was major. Like it was a crane that went through a whole bunch of apartment buildings here in Halifax. Okay. So it was major. It was kind of embarrassing because the Navy wanted to go and do the cleanup, but apparently because we didn't get the experience of how to run a chainsaw in the military, and the Army does, they sent the Army to go do the cleanup. And of course, all of us naval guys are all there going like, we all have chainsaws at home because we live in rural Nova Scotia, some of us, you know? So regardless, in order to get prepared, everybody went out and bought butane tanks, generators, and chips. So they ended up making this thing called storm chips. Storm chips. Potato chips.
Yeah, because I get confused because sometimes you guys call chips like the French fries.
We're not British. We're not British. Well, actually, British call them crisps. They really have a because chips is French fries, crisps are chips. It's like what? Yeah, I know. The British are crazy. Anyway, so storm chips. All right, storm chips, and then there's this one company. I'm giving you some free advertising here. Covered Bridge out in New Brunswick. They actually marketed to that. They called it, "Hey, buy your storm chips." It's just like a whole mix of chips.
Why chips? I'm so confused. Why chips?
Because we're here in Halifax and we don't care. Yeah, it is absolutely. I mean, have you ever been to Quebec?
If you run out of power, do they keep you warm? And
no. It's comfort food, man. It's comfort food. You know, it's like
it is right. Like
it is. It's comfort food.
Listen, a fresh bag of Ruffles with some good dip.
You know, it's like a whole bunch of way.
Man,
listen here, eh?
Yeah,
I got my storm chips.
This cheddar cheese bacon dip stuff, and like just a regular, like a good ranch dip or something. Anyway, sorry, we're gonna get off track.
No. So like in Quebec, like let me take you over to Quebec. So Quebec is like, okay, so BC is like the healthiest province in all of Canada, right? Because like, you have weather great all year round, go cycling, everybody's like, wearing yoga pants, it's all good. When you get over to like the east now, so you get over to Quebec, and so you just see the health just starting to decline. Quebec is like smokes and beer, because it's cheap.
Also, they still cook with real fat.
Oh yeah.
Like that diet's not. They're frying everything, which is like that's my love language, right? Fried food, but still, like
the Quebecer, they love it. It's like, yeah, they love it, man. They love it, dude.
And they'll live a long time. Maybe that's the secret. Maybe
that is the secret.
What if the secret was like it is like lard, fat, fried food? And the cigarettes like coat your lungs so it can't get in there.
You just can't feel it.
Yeah. And the beer breaks it all down. You're like, listen, a healthy diet is 4 beers a day, 3 cigarettes, and all the fried food you can eat.
That's it. You'll be fine.
If that was I would move there if that was the thing. They're like, hey, like you'll live to 90. You'll be happy.
But you'd be pissed off all the time. You'll be pissed off all the time.
What do you mean we don't have our own country? Maybe I could be okay.
What do you mean we don't have our own country, huh? What do you mean?
Yeah, man, I tell you what, I spent some time in Canada at some point in my single life, and like the one thing I can never get past, and it probably becomes the deal breaker for me ever living in Canada, is I missed ESPN and American sports so bad. I can't do TSN. I just can't do it.
Really? Because I felt the exact same way when I went into Washington, and it's like I'm just looking at ESPN, and I love football, don't get me wrong, but I didn't see anything about the Leafs or hockey, man. There's no TSN thing, and I'm just like, I know, and I'm just like, come on, man, like I just want to see some hockey.
If I could just push for a unified global sports network that we could all agree on, because there's enough content, like we could do it. Listen, I'll watch the same Sports Center over and over again. Like they could make a 2-hour one and include hockey and all the world sports. Like that's easy.
Right.
More onto something. We should do that. And then we can just live wherever we want to and not worry about it. Because right now the thing that keeps me here is ESPN. So
yeah. I mean,
Bristol, Connecticut.
I personally like the football breakdown you get down in the States because they get really down into it, and especially college. Oh, by the way, it's Big Ten's back, right? So that's why I'm wearing the Ohio
What a
State.
reversal. What a reversal. And the Pac-12 is going to vote on Thursday, and it sounds like they've got enough support.
That's because, I mean, you're
the
looking at all
governors
these
to do it.
sports. All these sports are going.
Well,
What do you mean, well? They are. They are.
There is a bit of – so the NCAA, I feel like, is the most corrupt organization in the world.
Absolutely.
And there's a bit of a dance to do with we're not going to allow students to be on campus to learn, but you can definitely come play sports and make us some money.
Yeah, because that's hilarious, Brad. You know what? That's very true because I was thinking about that too. It's like, oh, we might have to, shut down things or certain services that we have at the school. Let's get the sports back on track.
Yeah. We can't pay these salaries off of Rebecca's good ACT scores. So
yeah. Well, that just goes to show you it doesn't matter. I mean, you know what? You can be successful, go to school, do all these things, but sports runs the world. I don't care what anybody says. People need sports. They do.
Yeah.
Just the way
I don't disagree. I think that they should just pay the athletes. I just think that's easy.
Why not?
Or let them make their own money. Like, stop having these dumbass rules where you can't have endorsements. As it, like, if you're the best college football player, the fact that you can't have endorsements is silly. And don't give me the jealousy argument because that doesn't play anywhere. That doesn't play anywhere for me.
All that is to me is literally a form of slavery because it's like, I'm going to make money off your name.
They want to control it. They're like, hey, remember, like, I don't know why I feel like maybe it's because I'm focused on tonight's game, but like Cam Newton was transcending football at 1 year at Auburn, right? You tell me he couldn't have made a couple $100,000 that didn't come from Auburn, but that was – because I think he got paid by Auburn. I think they all pay them. Anyway. But the marketing
I got no problem with that.
The marketing money that Auburn University made off Cam Newton should have went to Cam Newton. And that's the move. It's not jealousy. It's not, little Tommy's the third string walk on and he's going to be jealous because he doesn't have the same opportunities. So what? Grow up. This is like, that's the life.
Here's the thing. Is that you're going into college. And you're still running yourself into a risk of maybe getting injured and never hitting the big show, never hitting NFL or anything like that. So why not make a little money while you're there? I got no problem with it. It's absolutely ridiculous. It is like paid slave. Well, not even paid slave. It's like slavery, a form of it that you're making money off of these people without using anything.
It's the same argument, right? It's like, well, they get room and board and a free education.
Oh, for crying out loud.
You know what else happened is when they were, had these, I don't know, I don't want to get too deep into it. But, they also had housing and food for slaves.
Listen. I'm going to tell you something right now. This is something that I actually know, okay? So a few years back, going on about 2, I was in Saint Jean-sur-Richelieu as a basic training instructor.
Whoa, hold on. That was way too fast for French. What? You were where?
I was in Saint Jean-sur-Richelieu, Quebec. And that's where the Canadian
Imagine if you had to write that on an envelope all the time whenever you were to mail something.
I did. I did. It's like, wow.
I think we get some abbreviations. Like you still
they do SJSR. But anyways, I'm there and I'm instructing basic training. And we had one recruit come in. And this guy used to play hockey for Notre Dame. Right? Mm-hmm. And he got injured. And all of a sudden, it's like they took everything away. He got to keep the gold helmet, is what he was telling me.
Yeah.
And everything else went away. And he ended up joining the military, going through.
Listen, growing up on a military base, I can tell you, I live in a town where, there's a Navy base and always has been a Navy base. And since I've been 13 years old, I've been on that base at the gymnasium playing basketball and working out and whatever other things. I can't tell you the amount of guys that I've met who are very athletic, right? We played, they let us play in those leagues for a long time. So we'd play baseball, we'd play, flag football and basketball. And you find these guys that are otherworldly talented, and just like you start talking to them and they've all got the same story. Hey, I went to this Power 5 conference school to play whatever sport it is. I got hurt and I didn't have a fallback plan. Like the university, I couldn't play competitively anymore. And so I was discarded, for lack of a better term. And like my option was to join the service. And I know like so many of those stories to know that like that's just a prevalent thing. Like if me being in this small little town in the Pacific Northwest knows that story, that has to be that story has to be everywhere, because there's no way that we have the corner market for they're like, oh, all the D1 athletes that get hurt, they have to go to NES would be. You know what I mean? Like that's
yeah. I hear you, buddy. I hear you, and that's why I'm saying it's like slavery, and it's not right. And hopefully they'll be able to change some of these things coming up in the future.
NCAA, get your shit together.
Hey, you got a wife question of the week there?
I do. Are we going to do this before we talk about the wonderful wide world of NFL?
Let's get these out of the way. Now let's get right into the NFL, because we got to talk some NFL for sure.
There's a lot of words on this.
All right.
I'm just going to read it.
All right.
When you're watching sports, what do you like to eat, and does it change with the sport? Also, how do you pronounce badminton?
Well, you don't pronounce it like that. You're not wearing a badminton. It's badminton. There's a G in there.
There's not. Look, listen.
It's a silent G.
There's not even how she spelled it. There's not a G in it. Like there's no.
It's because you guys got to her. You guys got to her over there. You transformed Nikki.
If you can show me a score sheet that says badminton on it,
it is badminton. It's not.
It's not.
Yes. Oh, for crying out loud. Oh. So yeah, I think
you call it a shuttlecocks or a birdie.
Oh, we call it a birdie.
Yeah.
Well, some people do call it a shuttlecock though.
Yeah. Man.
But
when I was in high school, I took a class called racket sports, because I was the jock, and I took a PE class like every semester. I took racket sports, and we would just all be giggling like little kids, like during the badminton part, because they were like, "Oh, and so you hit the shuttlecock across the
shuttlecock."
The teacher's like, "It's a birdie, okay? We're gonna call it a birdie."
I think food does changes depending on the sport that you're doing. Yeah,
it's interesting.
7-layer dip, football.
Okay. Yeah. You
Hockey,
can make that for the playoffs. Yeah.
Yeah. Hockey, poutine.
Sounds fair.
All right, I got one here.
Wings are universal, though, right? Can we agree on that? That wings are universal?
Wings, I think, go across any sport. You're never going to go wrong. Wings and nachos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We make Super Bowl nachos every year, and that's like a thing, but I'll eat nachos at any point. I mean, it's just...
Absolutely. All right. Mine. Why don't they have handsome male card holders wearing speedos for the women's UFC fights? It's a fair question. Why don't they?
Well, dear Joanne, how do we say this politically correctly? Most of the viewership is male, and we don't want to see it. That's how come. So get online, get a petition going. But Uncle Dana knows his audience, and he knows that we're turning that shit off.
With a nasty old Speedo. Is that you
I don't
have
get
something.
I don't get the fascination with Speedos. I mean, I get it, but I feel like
it's the worst thing to put on any man. It's a pair of Speedos.
Any man. Yeah, it's not good.
Because
there's probably less than 1% that are fine with it, but it's never a good public look.
No, you're walking around, and you know what? All your junk might not fit in there, and then all of a sudden something's hanging out there, and then all of a sudden somebody's there pointing at it.
Listen, and it's yes, and there's a fear associated with that, because that doesn't go well, right? There's too many creepy dudes in the world. Because even if you had a wardrobe malfunction and one of your boys snuck out the side,
what do you mean too many creepy dudes?
You would just be the creepy guy.
Yeah, but some of these guys, they don't care. They don't care the creepy guy because it's like, oh, God.
But that ruins it for the rest of us, right?
I
Like,
know.
If you're a woman and you get out of the pool and like your top comes down a little bit, like no one cares because it's a titty and we're all happy. Like we're great. If you get out of the pool and like one of your boys is hanging out, then everyone's like, oh, that guy's trying to show us his nuts.
You
like,
know,
no, like it was an accident. So,
or was it?
it was. That's what I'm saying.
Because there's a creepy dude that's walking around.
I'm trying to show my junk to everybody. It feels like a terrible idea.
Nobody wants to see that.
No, nobody.
Nobody wants to see that.
Nobody. You put like the best-selling calendars of the world that have to do with male models versus female models, and I bet it's a landslide.
Well, for females, yeah.
Yeah, like how many guys do you know that have a calendar of girls with swimsuits like in their garage?
Yeah. But you know what? I mean, like we have to ask a proper amount of people though, because I mean, you know, there's the LBTGQ community, and who knows what they're putting up there. So I mean,
my argument is not any of those things. My argument is simply this:
yeah,
the male body is not as attractive by a long shot as the female body.
Well, I think that,
regardless of how you feel about it. I mean, we're both guys that watch pro sports and like we lift weights and we enjoy those things. Arnold Schwarzenegger guy, right? We can talk Arnold Schwarzenegger, like we've dissected, like he's got a great set of pecs, his shoulders are impeccable, right? He's just like an Adonis, right? Yeah. I don't want to see him on a poster in my room in just a Speedo.
Okay, that's you keep Arnold Schwarzenegger in the muscle bag, right? And just read his article. That's it. Yeah, you don't have him hanging up.
Shorts on. Like you hope he has shorts on, right? Where you can like kind of see some of his thigh, but not all of it, because it's not attractive. It's not attractive.
Yeah.
So Joe, I'll say this. I feel like a compromise would be is if you could get like a young, like a guy of similar age as the ring car girls who was in good shape, and he could be wearing like a pair of running shorts and no shirt and carry a ring card, and I'm all for it.
Walk around in it. Yeah.
Speedo. I can't go.
Don't put the Speedo on. Yeah. I agree with you. Come on, man. Because there is chances for that wardrobe malfunction. And you can't unsee that. You can't unsee that.
I want to see it.
I mean, I know that there's a delay. Nobody's like, oh.
Yeah, but like nobody.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know why.
Oh, Joe Maynard.
Joe, I love you.
I do. I love her. I
want to give you what you want. I just can't. I can't get on board with this Speedo.
No, But hey, it's the way it is.
Maybe it's just the gallery over here is telling me the conversation is going south. So
the conversation is going south. All right, let's get into some football here. It's a Sunday. Yeah.
What a glorious Sunday, right? I mean, I think even like yesterday, I didn't get to see any games. I was a bit tied up helping somebody out. But, it was good to see Miami. It looks like they had a resurgence. This college football is kind of coming into form. Big Ten starts back up. Hopefully the Pac-12 starts back up. We're going to get back into like as the fall comes and the weather turns and we're all forced back inside again. That's a nice release to have is more sports, right? So hopefully that keeps going. Today, though, week 2 of our favorite league, right? The NFL, the almighty NFL.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at the schedule. I feel like it's a bit underwhelming from a matchup perspective. I will watch all of the games, and so I'm not being a homer when I say my most look forward to game tonight is tonight's game. It's the New England
Patriots.
To me, that appears to be the best matchup. I mean, we look at there's some other ones, right? Like, Detroit Green Bay has potential to be something just because of the history there.
Yep.
Atlanta Dallas might be something. It just depends on who decides they want to show up. It's interesting to me all these soft tissue injuries that we're starting to see. That might be
preseason.
Yep. That's the downside of no preseason, right? Yeah. And no real reps. As I look through the rest, Jacksonville, Tennessee feels like a walk for Tennessee. Minnesota, Indy might be interesting. It just feels like it's two quarterbacks that you wouldn't select.
Yeah, that's an interesting.
That might win. Yeah. It's an interesting game, right? I'll watch it in the early window for sure.
Yeah.
Full disclosure, I'm going to go turn on Red Zone about 45 minutes and see my boy Scott Hansen looking all dapper in his suit, and he's going to show me all of the best plays. I can't even watch a regular game anymore because I'm too spoiled.
I feel Bills Dolphins is just going to be like Bills touchdown, Bills touchdown, Bills touchdown. I really feel that's going to be an onslaught.
That's a boat race, right? I mean, that's from the get go. San Francisco and the Jets feels like an iffy game. Rams Eagles would be interesting, I think, right? That's an interesting game to watch.
That is an interesting game because Philadelphia has to do something this week after last week's performance there.
Yeah.
Carson Wentz got to do something.
Yeah, and the Rams, the Rams got to still kind of show who they are. I mean, I just think it's a good matchup.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Rams,
you need games in the NFC West. You need games because the Seattle Seahawks are not going to – they're going to keep that pedal to the metal, I'm telling you.
Yeah, it's gonna be fascinating to me to see how the coaching staff approaches tonight, right? Because in week 1 against Atlanta, they came out and just let Russell throw in the first half, which is, if you pay attention to Seattle football, opposite of what their philosophy has always been.
Yeah,
and they were rewarded, with what Russell Wilson can do, and so I'm interested to see if the philosophy has changed, which hopefully it has, right? We've been clamoring for this since year 2 or 3 of Russell Wilson. Hey, let him play. Like, let him throw. Let him do his thing. Let Russell be the quarterback. And Pete Carroll's been like, run first, and then play catch up in the back end. And then now you feel like the talent maybe has shifted a little bit, right? Where, like, your receiving core for once is maybe a strength over your running back room. Not to take away from Chris Carson, because Chris Carson is still like so Seahawks fan since I've been born, right? And here's my list of running backs. It's Marshawn, then it's Kurt Warner, and it's probably Chris Carson above Sean Alexander. Because as good as Sean Alexander was soft.
Wow. That's interesting that you put 2 guys that are pretty recent above Sean Alexander. I mean, Marshawn Lynch, I would understand.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
I love that Chris Carson doesn't look for contact. And when I think about Sean Alexander, and as great as he was, he also played behind a great offensive line, right? You're talking about 2 Hall of Famers on the left side in Steve Hutchinson and Walter Jones.
Right.
Max Strong, one of the greatest fullbacks to play, leading the way. Hasselbeck is quarterback. You know what I mean? Like, he had some weapons around him that allowed him to run, right? What I will always remember that cements it for me for Sean Alexander is a playoff game. We needed a 3rd down. He flares out, and Hasselbeck outlets to him. We need 3 yards. He's getting closed in on by the safety, and Sean bats the ball down with one hand because he didn't want to get hit.
Oh, come on. Oh, yeah. No, I see why you're picking that there. I mean, yeah. Where Marshawn Lynch is that guy who I think in a few years might be in a walker just because of the way he played the game, like. Yeah.
But then you look at what he did last year, right? He comes in last year, no preseason, didn't play for 15 games.
No.
He comes in and just hangs it to people.
Hangs it to people in short yardage situations.
He might just be built that way. He
might
just be built like that.
Short yardage situations and just a great guy to have in the locker room, right?
Yeah.
Just a great guy.
Well, and that's what they say about him too, is like he was always behind the scenes taking care of his body. Like he was that guy, right? Like he was into all the, before stretching was a thing. Yeah.
I get worried for him, right? Because it's like you see a few of these running backs. I mean, the running backs career historically is like 11 years usually. I mean, like a premier running back, right?
Yeah.
By the time they hit that 7th or 8th year, it's like
it's 2.5 years.
Yeah. Oh, I completely. Yeah. I'm talking about a premier
guy.
Yeah. I'm talking about, like, obviously not your run of the mill. I'm talking about a premier guy.
Well, you look at like Marion Barber for the Dallas Cowboys, right? Like he was that guy for 2 years and then was a shell of himself.
That's right. Because I mean, it's such a demanding position to play, running back. Because the thing is, I mean, look at Barry Sanders, who really, when you look at Barry Sanders, revolutionized that whole entire way to play it, because he didn't have an offensive line and still managed to get all those yards.
Yeah.
And so he managed to play it, and he probably could have played longer. He just decided, I want to go out.
100% could have played longer.
Yeah. So to me, I mean, power to you, you're going to go out. But then you have a look at, why can't I think of his name right now? Played for Houston Oilers. oh my gosh, this is back in the 80s.
Earl Campbell.
Yes, Earl Campbell. And it's just sad because when you see him coming out of the field now to do anything, he's like usually, I mean, he's on a cane or something like that, but usually walking around with a
it's going
walker.
to be interesting to me to watch how this generation of players ages in the fact of how they approached care of their bodies, post game, post practice, those things, even in the last like 5 to 10 years, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and that's every professional
you see
sport.
like LaDainian Tomlinson, you're like, man, like LaDainian looks like he can still play a little bit.
Greatest inauguration speech into any sort of Hall of Fame ever was LT's speech. Unbelievable. If you never had a chance to hear it, listen to it. It's so fitting for the time right now.
On YouTube, he's just that guy, and I think, like, just bringing him up, I think LT, you could make a case is maybe one of the best running backs ever, if not the best. When you talk about full everybody, you know what I mean? Like, we put these other guys on these platforms, and we should for who they are and were. But man, Mr. Tomlinson, year in, year out,
unbelievable.
Might be for me.
And that's the thing is that, like, I think in every professional sport, like when I keep thinking about hockey 20 years ago, and beer was the big thing, right? Like beer all over the place. And they were smoking packs of smokes. And, you know, they still go out there and play. They help a buddy move, go out there and play.
Well, that was the thing we saw in the Last Dance documentary that came out. That was so big a couple months ago, right? You've got, you know, Dennis Rodman standing outside drinking Coors Light and then jumping on a Harley Davidson with no helmet and taking off. You know, all the beer in the locker room.
That would not happen now. That would not fly now.
Beers, guys are smoking, getting taped up. I'm like, man, these guys are like,
they're doing whatever the heck they wanted. That would not fly now. That would not fly now. Maybe it does just
keep a lock on it, but who knows? But
no, there's no way that you'd have Kenny the Snake Stabler running around as your quarterback right now. He'd be getting fined. He'd be getting everything like that. There's no way. Joe
Burrow's isn't sneaking out in the locker room.
No, there's no way, man.
Halftime.
No way.
That's funny. Yeah, it would be interesting to see how those guys age out. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
Denver-Pittsburgh is an okay matchup. I think that Tampa Bay has a really good shot to get on course and get on schedule, facing a Carolina team that's kind of learning the ropes, you know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch that game relatively closely just to see if the vaunted Tampa Bay offense can get on track. That'll be a big deal. You got the Washington football team, which I think is the laughing stock of the league because they can't get a name.
Are they though? Because they're going
from a name standpoint. Like I just think I agree with this. Hold on one second. What, Colby? I see you over there.
Oh,
you're so silly. Do you want to come say hi? Yeah. Hey, come here real quick. Come on, hurry. We're almost done, but look, you can say hi.
Hi.
Okay.
You look like you're busy.
Always busy. Always doing stuff.
Yeah.
How old are you? 4 or 5 or 20? You don't know how old you are?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. You just turned 4. See ya.
I love it.
Yeah, she's the best. She is the best. I guess for first-time people that don't know us, I had a vasectomy after our 4th child, and then 2 years later.
Yeah, keep going.
Yeah, and then 2 years later, we got that one, and that's been the greatest gift for us. And so, a lot of things go into that. It was an interesting time to be alive, for sure, because I think I felt like I was playing with house money. The bullets were out of the gun. You could point anywhere, and just having a good time. And that happened, and couldn't be happier for how that's turned out. So
I got to say this, Brad, because I was calling you Wolverine for the longest time after that there, because somehow you regenerated down there.
That's
you regenerated.
I don't know that I've told you this story. The job I have now, I was going through the interview process and all those things. And I had decided that I wanted to find like a place I could be myself. You know what I mean? Like that was important. And so I was like, well, if I'm going to make this change, like I got to make sure it's a good fit and all these things. So I'm in there and I'm just kind of being candid and kind of doing the whole thing. And they're like, all right, well, we have like a kind of a wild card question at the end that we ask every candidate, and this time it's if you had a superpower, what would it be? That was the question. And I had been joking with you and with other people that was my superpower, was regeneration.
Why wouldn't it be?
Yes. So here I am, full dressed up, right? Professional, guy talking to these people that I want to give me money.
Yeah.
That don't know me, like this have met me. And they asked the question, and because of the conversations, that's the first thing that comes to my mind. And I couldn't control my face, Sean. And they asked me, and I I laughed, and I had to commit. And I was like, in the moment, I was like, I gotta go. And I go, if I had a superpower, it'd be regeneration. And they're like, I go, well, what happened is I had this vasectomy, and then 2 years later I had a baby because I had regenerated and I was able to produce kids again. And the whole room, there was a panel of people that I was talking to. And they all start dying laughing.
Of course.
And as they were laughing, I was like, these are my people. I want to work here, because that's the reaction is
these are the things that would end a marriage, okay, Brad? These are the things that would end a marriage. It's because it's how do I have a baby? What are you talking about?
Man.
Until you probably went over there and you had to go into the cup, and then I was like, oh, yeah, you got some active ones here.
I'll tell you, here's how it goes there. So when you don't think you can get pregnant, being pregnant apparently feels like death. And we couldn't figure out what's wrong with Nikki. And so she goes to the doctor, and she comes home, and she says, before I tell you what's going on, I just know that you have to go to the doctor tomorrow. I was like, oh, okay. She said, I'm pregnant. And something in my Cro-Magnon brain was just shut up. Don't react this until you don't know.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, okay. Well, at least we know, right? At least we know what's going on, and we'll figure this whole thing out.
Yeah.
And so I have to go down to the doctor's office to give my sample, and then wait. And as luck would have it, my mother-in-law works at the doctor's office.
Yeah.
And so I have to go down there and, leave a specimen in a cup. But then I have to hand that cup to my mother-in-law.
Dude. This story's better and better. All right,
But he has to take it back to the lab or whatever. And then I go sit in the waiting room for 10 minutes. And the whole time I'm like, man, my life changes here. This is a turning point for us, because either I'm changing the locks or we're having a baby, or either. I don't know what the move is, And so then the doctor comes to get me. Not even the nurse, the doctor comes to get me. And he's just throws the door open. He's like, Tesh, he's like, come on, and we go back there, and he tells me. As soon as we close the door in the exam room, he's just all upset. And I was like, hey man, who are we upset at? And he's like, I'm so sorry. You're my first failure in 3,000 K or whatever it was. And I was like, man, no. It is what it is. I was like, well, how much do you pay me now in child support? How does this work? Do I get college funds or so?
Well, it doesn't.
Spoiler alert, they don't pay for anything.
Of course not.
Because
you're an X-Men. It's
yeah.
They don't pay for X-Men. Come on now, Brad. No. Jeez.
Anyway.
Jeez.
So now we know.
Dude. But look. It's funny because that's the only child I have not met, right? So it's since I moved.
She runs the show.
Oh, I believe it.
Runs the show. As you can see, the only kid you'll ever hear while we're doing this is that one, because she doesn't care.
I love it, though. I love it.
Busy.
I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So anyway, back to the NFL. The Washington football team, as we're calling them now, or the Snyderettes, or whatever they are, in Arizona. For me, it's an interesting game. It's did Ron Rivera get to take hold? Is his message on for them? What's the goal? I don't know.
See, I'm starting to wonder if Washington is playing out of their minds because of Ron Rivera, right? With that cancer scare and everything, and it's
yes.
Are they playing?
He's a phenomenal coach.
He is.
Right? We saw a similar impact when he went to Carolina.
Yeah.
In year one. But two, that story about how he's taking an IV in the locker room at halftime so he can continue to go, and Dwayne Haskins gets up, who I think is a leader, right? I don't know how good he is as a quarterback yet,
Right.
but I think that he's a leader.
Right.
I definitely think he's a leader. Is that he gets up and he makes an impassioned speech about, hey, if he can do that, we can do better. And then they come out the second half and just kick the doors off that thing. It might be the sports story.
Yeah, especially if they keep that up for the season. I mean,
because we know that sports is so much mental.
Absolutely.
Right? And the teams that get it right are the play for your brother mentality. Right? Like, Seattle had that going in that Legion of Boom, right?
Yep.
Love our brother. Like, don't do it for yourself. Do it for them. Do it for the guy that works next to you. And that is so powerful across the board.
Mm-hmm.
And we see it the most in sports, that if that might be the thing, is that Ron Rivera deciding to continue on, being as sick as he is, might be a rallying cry for that team. And they have talent. They definitely have talent, right? They've got a good running back room.
Mm-hmm.
The receivers are, they're not underrated, right? But they're a solid group. I think the line is as good as it's in that league as you can get.
Yeah.
The defense is oncoming, right? You got Chase Young. You've got, and the interesting thing for me too is you look at the influx of Ohio State players on that roster.
Yes. Yeah.
Guys that know each other, guys that have been, like, there's a familiarity there.
Absolutely.
In the leadership groups, for sure, right? You've got, Dwayne Haskins, just off the top of my head, Dwayne Haskins is the leader on the offense. Chase Young is arguably already a leader on the defense. Those two guys know each other well, and not just well, but like have played at a high level together.
Mm-hmm.
That translates across the board. And then you throw in Ron Rivera, who is already a great coach, and then has a more passionate reason for them to get behind him.
Oh, absolutely.
It's
a rallying cry.
Yeah, even last year when Atlanta was going into their bye week and Dan Quinn was on the block, right? They're talking about, hey, we're going to fire Dan Quinn, and then that team turns around and goes because they're playing for that coach.
The coach, exactly. It's funny, right? Because it's like with professional sports and the military, there's so many similarities that I've seen, anyways, right? Because it's like, you want to do well for your supervisor, especially you respect your supervisor, and so you just want to be able to go out there and do that. And there's a lot of things like that we do that sports teams does, or vice versa. And it's like, that's why with Washington, it's interesting because I keep forgetting that he has cancer.
Yeah.
But people can't put that thing because it's like they don't have a name. There's no real superstar quarterback or anything like that. But they look good. They look good, and they put a pounding on Philadelphia. So I don't know. I'm interested to see.
And the NFC East is not great this year.
No. I mean, the Giants are going to do great. I mean, Dallas is probably going to be able to win enough games there, I think, to end up coming out.
But when I'm talking about being you talk about the top four teams in the NFC. They're not in those top four living in the NFC East.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting. And I think we see what Arizona's made of, right?
Yeah.
Being at home, getting that going.
I hear that.
It's going to be interesting to watch. We got Kansas City and the Chargers.
Yeah.
Feels weird almost with the Rams. Like Los Angeles Chargers just still feels so weird to me.
Man.
I think,
how do you pick against the Chiefs in any game? I just don't know how.
No.
I don't know how. I mean, I know that they're probably going to lose a game here or there because 72 Dolphins was just a phenomenon. I don't know.
Well, I think when you look at the Chiefs, the Achilles for the Chiefs is the defense.
Yeah. They have to run up a score. And if they start slow,
you get them in the right time. You get them in November, December. You catch a snow game. Maybe it's hard to bet against Patrick Mahomes, right?
It really is.
The Mahomes-Reed connection is, man, it's special.
Well, what do you do when you have a guy that's studying playbooks from 1930s and 1940s, and he'll put that into a game?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now all of a sudden, you as a head coach, you're going to have to start studying this stuff because Andy Reid is not afraid to pull some of these things out of the hat. He's just like a magician.
Yeah, Andy Reid might be the most adaptive coach.
Yes.
In the league.
Yeah.
And what I mean by adaptive is like he will tailor his game plan to the talent that he has. A lot of great coaches, we know this, right? They have a system. They have their system.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And they're going to run that system, and they'll do well with it.
Absolutely.
Andy Reid tailors his system. I mean, he's got a philosophy. right? He does.
Yep.
And he's got a thing that he wants to do. But from a guy who puts in packages that suit his talent, like that's the thing. And we're going to watch it. I think Kansas City goes in as a big day today. And the Chargers don't have a bad defense, right? I mean, they're a relatively top tier defense.
Yeah.
I still think that the Chiefs is hanging on. I don't know that. I don't know. It goes a different way.
Yeah. All right. Little one-on-one here, brother.
Yeah, let's get there.
All right. So I love it. We didn't tell each other what this question is, so I just wanted some reaction. So it looks like you do too. Do you want to go first? You want me to go first?
I'll go first because mine's less about reaction and more of just a conversation.
Sure. Okay.
And so part of it was brought on. I was watching Sports Center last night and just kind of watching the playoff teams that have been clinched. Watching my Mariners play spoiler a little bit and hold the Yankees off their playoff spot from their day, probably.
Well, good for you because they ended up wrecking my Jays over the past week there. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, you're welcome. Listen, that's how you know who your favorite team is. And I just realized that, one, we haven't talked a lot about baseball, and two, we just don't care as much about baseball, right? Like,
I don't care until postseason.
This pandemic has only enforced the fact the reason I watch baseball is because it's the only sport on during the week in the summer.
It's very true.
Because right now it's basketball. You know what I mean? All these things are going on that wouldn't, normally be going on at the same time.
It's not postseason baseball where you start going, oh.
No. But this bred the question for me. What would be your walk-up music? What song do you play as you walk from the on-deck circle to the batter's box? What's the hook? What's the song?
Ooh, interesting. I think for me, I like hip hop and I like rock. So that's difficult to really start thinking, but I think I will be walking up with a little seek and destroy. A little seek and destroy.
Yeah, that's a good
that
one.
makes sense for
baseball.
The
same as what's your walk-up music, or what's your walkout music to wrestling, or whatever, right?
Well, wrestling, I mean, Sting used that one there, seek and destroy. Because
I know what I'm saying. Like, it's the same concept, right? Like, for me, the song's the same. It's Snoop Dogg's "What's My Name" from the infamous Doggy Style record. Like,
that was you? That's yours?
Yeah. Yeah, the way that starts off, man.
Because Seek and Destroy, man, it's just like the worst part about Seek and Destroy, though, is that the intro is so long.
Yeah, but that's
you don't get any of the words.
Yeah. You don't even need the words, though. Like, that's the thing about What's My Name is, like, this kicks off that beat so healthy. You're just like, yeah, this is it. Like, I'm here to work. Like, let's get this going.
You think about it.
Just think about it. Like, if you're going, like, at your job now, like, if you're on your way in and you got to be on when you get to work.
Yeah.
Right? You put that song on in the car and, like, you're ready to go.
Of course. Because you're walking and scanning the scene in the city tonight.
In your head all day. You know what I mean?
Looking for you to start up a fight.
But if I can encourage everybody, it's find your walk-up song and apply it to your life.
And then you just like, search it.
Yeah, you all got stuff we're going to
seek and destroy.
Yeah. Like, get out of your car and like kick the door closed and flex real quick. And you just go handle your business.
Oh, I love this question. Seek and destroy. No, oh, I love it. That was my song. What's your song?
It's Snoop Dogg's.
Snoop Dogg's.
Yeah. That's it. Like,
all right.
That thing starts playing. I don't care where I'm at, man. Like, I'm in. Like,
buddy,
it transports me to the confidence I had before I learned about the world.
Oh my gosh.
1993. Sneaking rap music in my room.
What's my name?
Yep.
Snoop Doggy Dogg.
Mm-hmm. That's right. But you can't not have a good time and that you hear
Of course not. Bow wow wow yippee yo yippee yay.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. Listen to it tomorrow on the way to work. You'll have the best day ever. Like,
I'm telling you right now,
that's
Snoop Dogg is the best thing to happen to hockey. I don't know if you ever seen it on YouTube. Check it out. Snoop Dogg explaining hockey.
Yes.
Best thing ever.
Yeah.
He knows what the flow is. He knows what a biscuit is. I'm like, brother, I love you, man. I love you. I love you. All right. My question to you is very Canadian.
Yeah. As they all are.
Very Canadian.
Be polite and to the point.
That's right. So the CFL is not having a season this year, right?
We've discussed the CFL.
Yes. So I just saw something that it just caught my mind, and so I had to look it up. I wanted to see what your reaction is this. So what the CFL is doing for the Grey Cup coming up is they're offering, because if you purchased season tickets to your team, right?
Yeah.
They don't want to give the refunds because they have to keep it afloat, right?
Yeah.
So if you have a season ticket that you paid anything over $349, what they're offering right now is that you go in to the CFL, and let me just pull this up right now because I have it right here, ready to go. It is phenomenal, Brad. It is absolutely phenomenal. I loved it. So for $349, okay, they are going to offer you etch your name on the Grey Cup fan base. So the Grey Cup was just a cup, but now they're going to have this massive wall at the bottom of it, this massive base, and on there it's all the people that have paid for their season tickets. And so what happens is it says limited time, so you got to go on there. So it says the pricing here. See, season ticket members pricing is $349, and general public, so if you didn't have a season ticket, you still want your name on there, $399 to get your name on there, okay? And so this base is huge, okay? And what they're saying is that you're going to get personal. That big. You're going to get personal.
There's a lot of blank spots.
The Grey Cup is not that big, but the base is huge. You have to see this thing. No, look at this thing, what they're going to make.
It's going to have a lot of blank spots on it.
They're going to have so personal recognition. In addition to your name being etched on the Grey Cup fan base, you will also be recognized in your local stadium and unique in your market. It's like, what?
And put your name on the Jumbotron.
Joe Blow from Toronto. Stand up. So that's what they're going to do, man. There's a certificate of authenticity that you get to hang up on your wall that you are on the base of the Grey Cup, and you get to have the Grey Cup come to your home. You can take pictures with it, with your name on the thing, and then they blow up your name so that everybody can see it. So
okay, I'm into that part. The rest of it is the most Canadian thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
They don't want to get that money. Which I don't blame them. You want to keep the league going.
Yes, I get it. It reminds me of this. My brother was in Seattle for maybe a Sounders game or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't quite remember why he was there. But he ended up in a bar, or whatever. And I get this text message from him at 10:30 on like a Friday night. And all it is a picture of him holding the Super Bowl trophy that the Seahawks had won.
But that's completely different, Brad.
Yes, it is, because it's way better because
Brad.
It's organic. But when
is that what you're comparing when I just gave you the question?
No, that's what it reminded me of, because the only compelling part of that thing you just told me is that you can take your picture with it. But it's not.
I don't care about the Grey Cup.
No one does. It's the silliest thing in the world.
Listen,
listen. Here's the thing. We say about like that redhead stepchildren are like the most like, like that's what
resilient?
You say when something doesn't matter.
No, I know, but they're also resilient. They're resilient.
Yeah, and that's what
they're getting the backhand for nothing.
Yeah, the CFL is like the blonde stepchild that like dyed their hair red so it could be the redhead stepchild. Like it's terrible. It's terrible.
I still say you need a CFL in order for the NFL to succeed. You do. because you need a feeder. You need a feeder. There are some great players that are going up there. I know.
You need the 4 players you've given the NFL in the last 25 years.
Oh, come on now. There's more than that. I
making an impact.
The thing for me is that in Canada, I want to see football, and I can't see an NFL game. So I think it's a good idea, but I also am laughing a little bit because it's just like, come on, man.
Here's the tell. Here's how we'll know how good of an idea we think it is. Did you sign up for it?
I ain't spending $400. I don't have those season tickets over here.
No.
I'm not spending $400 on my name there. Oh, Sean Valancourt.
I don't disagree because I wouldn't sign for it either.
No.
But it's not a good idea if you wouldn't do it. I mean, I get it. I understand the logic. I think it's fine. I think that thing has to be like 50 people because I don't know that you get more than 50.
You have to have a look at this base. Look it up later. Fans, look it up later.
I'll look
it's
it up
a huge
later.
base. It's huge
Yes.
what they're trying to propose.
I get what they're proposing. What I'm saying is when it's over, it's like 50 names.
Oh, you're so bad, Brad.
Like 5 fans from each team. I mean, like, really, like, come on. What's the average attendance of a CFL game? What do you think?
No. I mean, come on. That's not even fair.
Is it more than 10,000?
What do you mean 10,000?
Is it 10,000 people?
No. Not average.
How many? What's the average?
I don't know. When I was in Montreal, I mean, I know it was lucky to get 7,000.
Okay.
So,
listen.
And one time it was sold out, and we got close to 10,000, and that was for Johnny Manziel being there.
Yeah. Listen to me. Let's listen very carefully. In a pandemic, where they're allowing only 10% of the seats to be full, the NFL stadiums are drawing more fans than that.
Yeah, I know that. There's 17,000, and it looks like a CFL game there, okay? I understand
It's almost double the average.
I know, because they're so huge. I understand all this, Brad.
There's a bigger fan base than that for preseason games.
I know. But the thing is, though, man, is like
it's your baseball. It's your baseball, right? Like, you gotta have something to watch.
Thank you. It's cold up here. It's cold up here. We need to watch a little football.
What's colder, Canada or New England?
What are you talking about? The whole country?
Who's more miserable? So you
just went to a certain area of the United States and then all of Canada.
The populations are the same. The population's probably the same.
No. California and Canada is the same, right?
That makes sense too.
So New England, or which part of Canada are we talking here?
I don't know. I feel like New England's like the coldest part of the continent of the United States. I feel like those are the grouchiest people because of the cold.
Listen, no matter where you are in the U.S., there is no place colder than Winnipeg, Manitoba. Look it up. Coldest intersection in the world. Portage in Maine. Coldest intersection in the world.
Okay, who's grouchier because of the cold?
Quebecers.
Yeah, you know why? Because they don't have NFL football.
Well, there's that.
CFL's not keeping anybody warm.
There's putting cheese and gravy on your French fries, and then you're just like all bunged up for like weeks because you eat cheese and gravy all the time.
Pack of cigarettes with like a shriveled up cancerous lung on it, right?
So of course you're pissy. Down. You're pissy, man. You're pissy.
You got your Labatt's, and it's like
Labatt's 50.
Hey,
Labatt's 50. Merci beaucoup, hein? Merci. Labatt's 50, c'est la bonne bière.
I don't want to live in a world where you just leave your beer on the porch, and then when you go out to smoke your cigarette, you like grab a beer out of the carton.
J'aime Québec beaucoup.
It's all just jokes. It's all
j'aime Québec beaucoup. Yeah. But it is
not
cold.
enough to buy a house there, but
no.
You enjoyed your time.
Yeah, it's cold there. It's cold.
Yes. Listen, we all could agree there's several places to live, and people that live there should be, they should get a trophy. And with what you're saying, for the low price of $350, they could get a trophy. So there you go.
$350. That's right.
NFL's doing the Lord's work.
Well, I think that's all the time for this week.
Yeah.
Next week we got Stan.
Guys.beer.sports, all things social media. Right.
Well, actually, we switched it to Guys Beer Sports to make it nice and easy and flowing. So, yeah, Guys Beer Sports. We got Stan Petter coming on next week.
Yeah.
It's going to be good.
I talk to Stan.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. And
toughest guy we ever talked to.
That's our first athlete we ever talked to. So I'm looking forward to that.
Conversation.
Brad, as always, great time. Great time.
Yeah, good to see you, buddy. Hey, NFL kicks off in a couple minutes, so enjoy these games, and we'll talk soon.
Sounds good.
Peace, everybody.
You've listened to the podcast, but now it's time to visit us in our virtual sports bar. Like us on Facebook at Guys Beer Sports Podcast. Follow us on Instagram and subscribe to our YouTube channel at guys.beer.sports. When you do this, watch for live conversations with Brad and Sean that happen throughout the week, where you can join in with your favorite local beer. You can share your thoughts in the conversation comments, with your own uploaded videos, or as a guest live commentator. The GBS Virtual Sports Bar is open for business. Come on in, boys and girls.